The idea of a silent protagonist that embarks on a quest is no strange setup. It's practically the vast majority of most Nintendo characters at this point. Yet simply changing the protagonist into a cat, not even a talking or a superpowered cat, but a simple cat, has caught the eye of so many players including myself. Stray puts you into the shoes, or paws, of the everyday cat, one that finds itself in the caverns of a forgotten world. As you explore this dystopian world filled with robots and alien-like creatures, you'll find the answers to the mysteries that lie below while trying to find your way home. Stray opens up to a group of stray cats living their everyday lives as they cross the cityscape. The world looks decimated, rotting away where civilization once lay. These cats feel like a remnant of our world, just everyday house cats lounging, meowing, and creating biscuits to pass the time. Unfortunately for our feline friends, one of the cats falls into what is otherwise a forgotten wasteland. It looks like something out of a cyberpunk world where robots make up most of the population. Why they're here, who they are, and how you get home are all part of the adventure from this rather unique perspective. Now, although you don't play as a special cat, there is a bit of suspension of belief here, as this furry friend is somehow able to understand these robots and what they're saying. Along the way, you'll meet plenty of them with various personalities that shine beautifully in this otherwise dark, scrapped together world. One of your friends is a little drone named BlueTwelve, a lovable robotic friend that aids you on your mission to get back home. He's able to hold items, translate the cryptic robotic language, and he rides alongside your back. A lot of the mystery slowly unravels through conversations with the robot citizens, environmental story puzzles, and some beautifully crafted cutscenes. While the premise of a fish out of water story isn't new, it's the way the world is crafted with enticing personalities, environments that encourage me to keep exploring and learn more about what happened here that really got to me. The 8 to 10 hour story was paced moderately well too, so the novelty of the cat simulator along with the mystery behind everything didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome. Stray is all about exploring, puzzle solving, and, well, being a cat. Stray is no doubt going to attract the average video game player as much as it will cat lovers out there, and luckily it finds a balance of making the gameplay fun, yet approachable. For the most part, controls will have you walking around, pressing A to meow and B to leap onto nearby interactable objects. Occasionally you'll run into interactive elements that let you scratch something, drop something, maybe even just get lost in the paper bag. Basically, you're a cat. It's fun, silly, and charming, but Stray is a lot more beyond just being a cat. You're in this dystopian world filled with both friendly and harmful creatures. On your mission to get home, you befriend the robots stuck here, and activating switches, while avoiding the hazards all around you. As a cat, you're a lot more nimble than these robots. You can better run away from the enemies, distract them with your meow, and even leap toward hard to reach places. Your arsenal of tools aren't that grand, with your most impressive piece of tech being a drone buddy that can translate languages and pick up items for you. Nevertheless, the adventure gameplay was still enjoyable despite the occasional platforming hiccup. You see, the cat can leap onto platforms, but only at certain angles where the jump button becomes present. This led to me sometimes jumping down when I meant to jump up instead. It got annoying at times, but not enough to really ruin the experience. There were a handful of collectible side quests to complete as well that kept me engaged with exploring, even when they didn't pertain to the main mission. Those elements were some of the most fun as it truly relished in thinking like a cat, going for pieces of environments you wouldn't really expect to check. I would have loved to see more of this. As it is though, Stray is a nicely wrapped adventure that stems from the days of point-and-click adventure games, but for a whole new generation. There's certainly room for more mechanics and expansion to the story, but one that regardless delivers a thoroughly enjoyable time. There's an odd feeling of beauty in this decimated city, from the rundown streets of the robotic civilization to the aspects of nature slowly taking its space back. Wandering this world as a cat, I got an interesting perspective of the environment that allowed me to reach small spaces, get through crevices, and even platforming that I wouldn't be able to do as a human. While being a cat isn't necessarily new for games or inherently required to tell the story of this one, Stray relishes in it. I got lost in seeing the cat walk down dark alleys as the camera panned down. It looked cinematic and ripped out of a film. It's very much one of those games where if you get rid of the UI and just took a screenshot, you could easily make it a wallpaper. As far as performance goes, you can pick up Stray on PC, PS4, and PS5. PS4 targets a 1080p 30fps target that is solid but is sustained by using an upscaler to reach that resolution. While the image is a bit soft if you don't care too much about the sharpness, it's still a decent way to play. PS5 and PC on the other hand are able to reach native 4K at 60 frames per second. PC's max settings do feature higher resolution shadows and textures, but the PS5 isn't too far behind with pretty similar visuals. Neither versions use ray tracing, yet the lighting results are quite impressive. Now, I did test this on the Steam Deck as well, and unfortunately Stray doesn't support the 16:10 resolution, so 720p is the max resolution you'll reach. If you set your settings to medium, you can expect an average of 45 frames per second, which is decent, but not too stable in the long run. You can limit the Steam Deck's frame rate to about 40 frames per second for better frame pacing, but hopefully we can see some more solid optimization in the future. For the time being, a PC desktop and PS5 is the way to go. The soundtrack here is filled with elegant yet ominous music that invites the listener to explore every nook and cranny of their environment. You never know what to expect from the new locations, whether it's an empty apartment filled with books to a dark alley with the smallest glimpse of light in the distance. The music throughout Stray evokes a sense of adventure in a mysterious void of awe and wonder. I found the various bells, chimes, and whistles composing a lot of the tracks to be nothing short of mesmerizing, even haunting in other aspects. The same attention to detail was placed on the feline friend. From the various meows you can perform, the different material pitter-patter of the environments, Stray somehow perfectly captured the ambient noise of the nightlife city, all from the perspective of a cat. It's a game that begs to be played with headphones on an OLED display in the middle of a dark room. Stray is a well-paced adventure game that puts you in the paws of an unlikely protagonist. The cat simulator aspect is charming and never feels like a cheap attraction. While it certainly leads into the fun of being a cat with moments like scratching the carpet and a dedicated meow button, it equally uses the cat angle in interesting ways from its platforming, exploration, and environmental design. The 8 to 10 hour story is a remarkable time that felt paced well, though I did finish the game wishing it had more puzzles and mechanics to exploring the world. The minimal loading stutters in between loading cutscenes and the occasional awkward platforming are blemishes on an otherwise great time. If you're on the fence about this title, get off it and start playing because you won't regret it.